Alrighty, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be working on the old Rubicon today. So we got a problem with it not wanting to stay in third or fifth gear. So we're going to be working on that today. So yeah, guys, like I was saying, we're having a problem with it. It is, when you shift into fifth gear, it makes a horrible grinding noise. And it won't stay in third. It kind of like jerks forward and it just pops out of third. It downshifts into second when you're driving it. Mind you, this is after we've already rebuilt the transmission and we took it to Honda and had them reprogram the ECU for the new shift pattern. So the only thing that we did not replace on this was the shift forks. We reused the shift forks on it. So I'm thinking that's going to be the problem. That'll solve it. So we already placed all the gearing on it. I didn't make a video on that. So today I'm just going to be showing you guys how you can tear it down. I get to it, so if you guys have the same problem with it not shifting or grinding or whatever, you guys can fix it. And yeah, so without further ado, let's jump into the video. So obviously, first thing we want to do, you want to pop the seat off. Pop the seat off and pull the plastics out of it, depending on how plastics are. I don't see that pull off, but so we're gonna get the plastics pulled off of this. So now, suppose today you can see everything I replaced. Replace this whole center casing and this. So first thing before you start pulling any of this stuff off, you're gonna want to drain your coolant. So that way when you pull the cylinder out, it doesn't spew coolant everywhere. So right here's where your coolant hose is at. You want to loosen this screw, put a bucket on the floor or something, and then drain the coolant. You're gonna want to reuse that coolant depending on how old it is. If it's a little bit older, you might want to replace it. But yeah, so you just pull that off, drain it into a bucket, and then we'll move on after that. Alrighty, so you got the coolant draining there. Now we're gonna want to pull the ECU out over here. And then there'll be a 10mm bolt here. You're gonna pull that out, and then you can pull this out. Unplug your fuel pump, disconnect all the vent lines, and then you're gonna want to pull your airbox out. There'll be two pipe clamps here, and then one down there, and then a third one back here for the secondary airbox. You're gonna want to pull out along with those two 10mm bolts up there and right there. Pull those. All right, so you're gonna want to pull off your temperature sensor down here. This is where you want to clip that, run that up through, disconnect your spark plug wire, move that over, and you're gonna want to disconnect your fuel lines over here. You're gonna pull this thing back here and push this in, pull on those tabs, that'll slide right off. Set that off to the side there, and then you come around to this side here. You got a 10mm bolt here, another 10mm on this side here. I'm gonna pull those out, put those on a tray, and then you want to take your gas cap off so you can get the gas tank out. And you want to pull this pin here, pull this up, take the impact up on here, pull this 10mm out, 10mm out there, and the same thing on the side. Make sure you pull that up, put your gas cap back on. Pull that up, put your gas cap back on. You're gonna go around to this side here. Same thing. Pull that pin out, and pull this up. And do another 10mm bolt down here. That just fell on the floor. Got that. So then your whole gas tank should be able to be lifted up off of it. Take our gas tank, just lift it up. Yep, slide it out of the way, set it off to the side. Then you're gonna have your heat shield here. You're gonna want to pull out. So there's gonna be some pins down up under here. You're gonna want to pull those off. And pull this off here. And disconnect the coolant line over here. Just move that out of the way. And you can pull this whole plastic thing out. Set that off to the side. And then your airbox here, we're gonna start working on that, getting that airbox out. So you're gonna want to pull this thing out after you get that pipe clamp undone. Down there, you're gonna want to pull that out, set that off to the side, unless you're snorkeling it. And then for your airbox, you're gonna go onto the back here. Alrighty, so now we're under here. So you're gonna want to take your pipe clamp off from back here. It's a 6mm. If you get a long extension impact, you can pull that off. Alright, so pipe clamps off now. And you put your 10mm back on. You gotta pull out these two 10mm bolts up here. And then the other one is down up under here. Move those out of the way. Pull secondary air box out. Alrighty, so down here by your throttle body, you're gonna have these pipe clamps here. They're gonna be 10mm or Phillips head. You just loosen those up there. And then this one here is gonna be a 6mm. I already pulled that one off. And you're just gonna wanna take the air box, shove it back, take this, slide it off the engine, and just take it and move it up out of the way. Then you're gonna wanna disconnect your speed sensor right here. Gas is going everywhere from there, still in the fuel line. So I'm gonna disconnect that. Sometimes those will get them off. Then you're gonna disconnect your O2 sensor over here, same thing. Press down on it, or a flathead screwdriver. Get up under here, press down on it. There you go, get that off, disconnected. Move that off to the side. Then you can just pull the temperature sensor out of the airbox there and just connect it like this, so, and then your airbox should be nice and loose, so you should be able to pull those off. Move that there, and just pull the whole airbox up and out, and set that off to the side. Alrighty guys, so now we're moving on to the exhaust. So these are two 12mm nuts that go on this side here. I'm using the big impact because these ones are a pain to get off. Small impact doesn't seem to have enough power to get these off usually. Take that one off there. And the bottom one up underneath here. Okay, take that one off. And now, before you just pull this exhaust off, you're gonna want to pull off this plug here, because if not, this one will rub up against the exhaust and could break those wires. So you're gonna pull this off here. This one's a pain in the butt to get off too. They're full of mud. So take that off, and then you're gonna swiggle your exhaust backwards. Sometimes you might have to kick it from behind to get it moved. So you got that loose. Take it, bend it up, shove it back, and disconnect your coolant line with the 6mm. Like that. Pull that there. Pull that off and take this, stick this up over here. Drain all the rest of the coolant out of that line. Alright, got the exhaust out. Now we're going to move on to these engine mounts here. These ones are also 12mm. Pull those off. Okay, so now we're going to start draining the oil out of it, so we can let this drain while we pull the front diff. It's a 17mm. Under here. Alrighty, so while the oil's draining, you're going to want to pull out this bolt here, the nut on the other side. Then to make it a little bit easier, you're going to pull this bolt out here, and the same on the other side. You're going to pull those out so you can pull this whole front diff forward. So to get those 3 bolts out, then there's a bolt down over here on this side. Turn the steering wheel there. So you're going to want to pull that nut and bolt out there, and then you want to take the whole front diff and slide it forward. And then we're getting loosen the engine mounts. Alright, so now we're going to start removing this left fender, so we can remove the sub-transmission shift cable and handle and stuff. So we're going to start pulling this off here. I'm going to pull the foot pegs out. Those are 10mm. Take these, set those in. I use side cuts. Those are the easiest that I found. They do make a specialty tool for this, but I like using side cuts. So much nicer to pull the pins out with. So what you got, all those pins moved out of the way. Just want to pick this thing up, take it, and tuck it down underneath of it. There, so you can get to the heat shield for the sub-transmission. 10 mils. Pull those off. Sit that off to the side. Then you want to pull the whole handle off here. These are also 10 mils. Pull those off. Hold on. Wrong one. Not that 10 mil. And pull these two 10 mils off. Sit down there. Sit here. And another 10 mils here. Pull these off. And there. And where's the other one? And the other one's right here. Pull that off. And then two. And you should be able to just lift this thing up. You might need to take a hammer to tap this one off. Alright, so now with that out of the way, now we can get this engine mount here. Those are both 14 millimeters on each side. You can get the impact and take these off. There we go. You're just going to push up on this side of the engine, tap that out. It should just slide right out, just like so. Make sure you grab your spacer. Take that, put that back on the bolt with the nut, and set it on the tray. All right, so the same thing down the other side. Pull the fender out of the way, and loosen this motor mount too. Take that one, set it up there. Same thing on this side. We just got to push the engine up a little bit. Take the bolt out, grab the spacer. Now we're going to start disconnecting all the wiring and the hosing that goes to the engine. Right here, we're going to want to pull this off. This is another either a flathead Phillips or a 6 millimeter. I recommend 6 mil. Pull that off, and then we're going to start pulling off all the wiring on the back of the motor. Okay, so now we gotta start disconnecting the wiring off the engine. So over here, you got your sub-transmission wires here. On this Rubicon, there's two 8 millimeter nuts that hold these onto the sensors. On older Rubicons, they just clicked in. So depending on your make and model Rubicon, it'll depend on that. And then for the starter, you're gonna need to pull the wire off of this nut off here. It's all 10 mils. Drop that nut. And then pull this one off here. That one's the ground wire. And then this one over here is the power wire you're going to want to pull out. Let's go that one. And then those are all the wires that are connected to the engine by bolts. And then you're going to want to disconnect this wire here. Goes up here. You're going to unplug it right here. Plug it there, and you're going to want to pull off this cover up here. And you drop your tailgate. Pull this up and off. And it is this one right here you're going to want to unplug. And then you've got to deal those. Pair these, pull this thing off. There you go. Now shove this down through. Down back through there, and then you're gonna have your gear shift position sensors here. It's gonna be on this side here. And you want to unplug these as well. It makes it easier. Just pull that off. Then you're gonna have a one wire here. You're gonna also want to unplug that, and you want to shove these back down and through. And then I think that's all of the wires that go to the engine. Yep. So. Yeah, unplug your speed sensor, all that. And then you're gonna want to unplug these ones up here. These ones go for your automatic. These are your shift solenoids you're gonna want to unplug as well. We already unplugged this one. I'll unplug this one here. Those two there. Should put those down there. And then you're gonna have two more down here. You're gonna have one for your shift motor. Now, all right, so we got that unplugged. So now what you're going to want to do here is you're going to pick up the whole engine, kind of. You're going to want to scoot it forward, disconnect it from the rear drive shaft. Take a pry bar if you need to. Move that out of the way. See, that's loose now. That's no longer disconnected. So now you can pick the engine up and move it out. Be careful. These things are very heavy. This thing's around like 300, 400 pounds. Very heavy. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. There's one more line right here. It's down below the shift motor. It's right here. You're gonna want to pull this thing off here. This one seems to be in there pretty good. Okay, so now that we got the motor out of the four-wheeler, now we're gonna start pulling apart the engine, and we're gonna start working front to back, and then yeah. So we're gonna start pulling the 10 mil out. Make sure not to pull out these two. These two are for the valves, so you don't need to pull those out. So just make sure those are out like that. Just pull this top end right on out. Pull that out. Set that off to the side. Take your lift rods out. And then you have the 14 millimeter nuts all the way around. Make sure you go like that so as not to warp the head. I'll switch over to 12 mil. 12 mil on this one. Pull that out. Back to 14. Pull the washers off here, make sure you don't drop them. And now you're going to want to disconnect this coolant line right here. Got 6 mil. Pull that off. Set that back. And pull that off. You guys should be able to just pull this top end right off. There we go. That's off. And you can see down in there. Shake the valves. I think it's kind of burnt. We're gonna pull, and we got the two 10 mils back here to pull a cylinder jug out. That one up there. And up there. We need a little rubber mount to tap this thing out, maybe. And pull that out. Take that, set that off to the side. Make sure you remove your gasket at the bottom there. And then there's a little bit of burnt fuel on top. That's normal. That's just the back pressure from the stock exhaust. If you have a full exhaust system on that, you won't have any of this on there because you'll have full flow. So you should just wipe it off. See that brand new piston we put in. And so now we're gonna start pulling off the front cover. We have 10 millimeter bolts all the way around. And this one right here, gonna need an extension to get to. I'm gonna put a 10 mil on the extension to get to it. Here. That one off. There. And then one more down below here. And that's everything off there. So those off to the side over there. And to the mallet. You want to tap up bead on this side. Almost forgot. There. Then, yeah. Just checking. Yep. That's it. You see a split in the case. I'm gonna slowly pull these things off. There you go. Set that up off to the side. Make sure you get some towels because it will start draining all the oil out of the bottom of the crankcase. It's not all of it comes out when you do when you drain the oil out of it. Off your secondary clutch here. This is a 28 millimeter. Pull that off. And then this one here. This one I already busted loose. So now I'm gonna take this one off as well. Pull that off. Then you're gonna need a bearing puller. So I got one here, clutch puller. You can also get one off of reductionboss.com as well. They make gear reductions for this model. That's where you can get a puller for these. There you go, so you have that loose. That's loose, that off the side. Pull this out, make sure you got that washer that's on there. And remember which nut that you pulled off that had the washer on it. If it didn't have a washer on it, pull that. Put that in there. And take this whole assembly, set that off to the side. And then, after that, you can pull this whole cover off here. Take the mount and just tap this off. So you just pull this off here, and then you can tap this off to the side as well. Now, so you got this is your primary clutch here. You're also going to need to put the bearing puller on this as well, and pull this out. There you go, pull that off. You grab everything here all together as one and take it, set that off to the side. Now you want to make sure you pull your gear position or your gear shifter. Been out of there. That one off to the side as well. And now you're going to have your timing chain here. You have your timing mark there. Then you're going to want to take some 10 millimeter socket. So you can pull the tensioner out. Pull it out, make sure you have those bolts. Those in there. Put that off to the side. Then you're gonna have your camshaft holder there. You have to pull that out. That's gonna be a 12 mil. Pull that out. Bigger impact. Pull that out, along with the plate that holds it in place. Put the bolt back onto that. Put that off to the side. You should be able to spin your cam. Try to spin your cam in the crank. Try to get lined up so your cam can come out. Should be lined up like so. It should fall right out. And then make sure before you pull the cam out, you gotta pull these out. The other one already fell in, which is no big deal because we're pulling that apart anyway. So just take that, set that off to the side as well. So now we're gonna be moving on to the gear shift mechanism here. Now you want to be extremely careful when you're pulling bolts out here. There are little springs inside of this thing that holds it in place. So while you're pulling this out, you want to be extremely careful as to not lose those pieces because those things are very tiny and very easy to lose. So I'm going to take a small flathead screwdriver, slowly pry this out. Make sure to be extremely careful with this. Make sure you can drop it, move it up and spin it out the way a little bit. This is not to lose those pieces. You have that there. So right in here, this is where you want to be very careful of. Don't want to lose this. So make sure you grab it just like that and set it over here. Right here, and let off it very carefully. As you can see, this thing's expanded. There's little springs in there, so you want to make sure you get that just like that. If you need to, put a zip tie around it. Set it off to the side, make sure you don't lose those. So now you're going to take a deep well 12 mil, stick it on here, pull this out. You put it on a big impact, get it out. You pull that out, and then you can pull this whole assembly out as well. So make sure you put that into there so you know where that goes. Then take this, set that off to the side. And now you want to make sure you pull this bolt top as well. That one is a 10 mil. This one right here. Make sure you pull that one out. Then, yeah, I want to be sure I didn't miss any. All right, so that's all of it for this side. Now you want to go turn around to the back side. Now try not to pull off the rear end. So we're going to pull out all these bolts. You're going to have to put an exception on. There's a few on the bottom. So, right here. There you go. Watch for oil dripping out everywhere. Alrighty, so now we got the main motor and transmission case housing split in half. You can see here, there's a transmission. We just replaced all the gears in here, but it's still making a grinding noise. So I'm thinking it's shift forks. So we're going to pull these out, this shift drum out here, and get to the forks and see if that could be our problem. Alright, so now we're going to start pulling this out. Pull your reverse gear out here first. Set that off to the side there. Then you got your main gear here. Little washers and stuff fell off. I'm going to pull this off, so we're going to attempt to pull all this off together as one piece so nothing falls apart. We're going to take these, set that off to the side there. And with that, so now where that goes. Then we're just going to pull this all out here with the shift drum, shift forks. Just going to pull all that out there. Yeah, there we go. Gotta set this thing here. Yeah, pick up the gear that fell off in the back there. Stick that back on. And yeah, it's a shift drum, brand new shift drum we put in. Nothing's wrong with it, that's all looking good. So I'm gonna take this. Put that back there. There's your shift forks. So here's shift forks. This one looks good. This one looks like it's got destroyed. I'm assuming this one's it. This one is which one is this one? This one's center. So this one's center piece. So this is third gear here. What's this one here? This one here is reverse. So this one's so center and rear shift forks look like we need to put new ones in. But the main one, front one looks good. There's no burning on it, no nothing. So I guess we're just going to replace these two shift forks here. And then, yeah, I think that's it for the video until we get new parts. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, please like, subscribe. We'll catch you guys on the next one.